the problem that has come up, we just found out about it, is I usually give the dogs, we have 6 dogs, and I usually give them a heartworm preventative. And you're supposed to give it every month. You can skip a month. You can go 2 months. But apparently I waited longer than 2 months. And so they wouldn't sell me any more preventatives, because I think it just like only kills them at certain life stages of the heartworm. We waited a few more weeks after that. I mean, we may have waited 4 months to take them in. We waited until it was time to get rabies vaccinations, their yearly boosters, and we took them in. And the first one we got tested was Gertie, because, you know, not only did she get vaccinated, but she had a broken foot, so we had to take her to the vet anyway, and that cost money. And it was another reason we weren't really in a hurry to take 6 dogs to the vet to get tested for heartworms and put back on heartworm preventative, because it's expensive. But Gertie broke her foot, and so we had her in the vet's office several times. Like she had the splint on for 6 weeks, and she was supposed to have it on for 6 weeks, and then we go do a checkup. But Gertie tore her splint off one time. She got an infection. I guess she got it wet at one time, and I wasn't aware of it, and she got an infection. She tore it off. We had to take her in. They put her on antibiotics. They put a new splint on her.
And gave her an e-collar.
And gave her an e-collar. So then we had to take her back like 2 weeks later, because they wanted to take the splint off of her and check and see how the infection was doing. Make sure that the antibiotics, you know, completely cured the infection, or fixed the infection, however you say that. Make sure there wasn't an infection there. So so we took her back in 2 weeks. I think she was on the splint for 2 weeks. She tore it off. We took her in, they treated her, and then we had to take her back in another 2 weeks. And so then it was 2 more weeks, and she was supposed to originally go back in and have her foot checked again. So we did that. And they said, give it a couple more weeks. It's healing, but let's give it a couple more weeks. Well, within that 2 weeks, we took her in one day prior to 2 weeks, because why?
The splint was broke.
Yeah, she broke her splint. So
instead of it being straight, it was going like that. She was just like using her paw normally, but it wasn't like straight like it was supposed to be.
So they had to put a new splint on, which cost more money. The vet actually went in halves on the splint with me. I guess he felt sorry for me. So put a new splint on, brought her back in 2 weeks to check on her, and then they wanted her to stay in another 2 weeks, and we took her in after that, and they took the splint off. There's a lot of traffic going by. We're out here in the country, but this road, I mean, to tell you, a lot of traffic goes by here. She seems to be doing fine. They did x-ray and said that she was healing. So, but she is still limping on that foot, but she had that splint on for forever. And so
Months.
I think that's part of it. When I take her outside, whoops, you're not in there. When I take her outside, she uses it. So I don't think it's hurting. I think she's just used to not using it. That was a long story to say we got her checked out when she was already there. And, you know, a lot of vet expense was already there. So then Caleb needed rabies shots, and he's out protecting the goats. And there's coyotes and foxes. And, you know, you saw on the news the other day where this woman was attacked by a fox, a rabid fox. So I took him in, and when I had him in,
we took that kitty in.
Oh, that's right. We got a kitten. Where's the kitten?
He's in the house.
We better go get the kitten. He's gonna go get the kitten. So remember, we had Shadow and Shade, and earlier this summer, Shadow got the bobcat fever. We were using the flea and tick preventative on them, and he got the bobcat fever, and we had to put him down. The vet said they have seen a whole lot more cases of it this year than they ever have. So I don't know what's going on there. But the other day we got a new kitten, and he's gonna go get it. It'll be here in just a second. So the first thing we did, Caleb needed his vaccinations, and we needed to take this cat in. I wanted to get it tested for the feline AIDS and leukemia before I put it with my other 2 cats. Now we got shadow and shade for outside kitties as mousers, but prior to moving here, I don't know if you guys remember, but I have another cat that's indoors, and she was indoor outdoors at the other place. I have not let her outside here yet. I'm just really scared to let her outside. There are a lot of coyotes. I've had her for 6 or 7 years, and I'm very attached to her, and I'm afraid to let her outside. But so we now have 3 cats. 2 of them are supposed to be kind of our barn cats. We'll see if that ever happens. We had to take this cat in. Caleb needed his rabies shots, so we took him in and we got him tested, and he came back positive for heartworms. I know a lot of people around here, some of them do the preventative, some of them don't, and they don't seem to have problems. I let the heartworm preventative lapse, a couple months longer than I should have. Hang on, let that vehicle go by. I let the heartworm preventative lapse 2 months longer than I should have, 2 or 3 months, and Caleb got heartworms, and that's my fault. It's hard to remember sometimes. It's expensive for one thing, especially when you got 6 dogs. So I do try to stretch it out for 2 months, get as much out of it as I can. And I went too far. I went too long, went too far, and then I put off going and get him tested because of time and expense and everything going on. And it ended up costing me more because the treatment is not cheap, guys. That bill is already paid. So we've started the treatment. It starts with antibiotics at the house and a heartworm preventative, and then he goes in and actually, he gets a treatment to. He goes in and actually gets a treatment to kill the heartworms, which is real expensive. It's like a hospital stay, and so, but it's already paid for. There's already a credit on the account. Here comes Greg. Isn't that cute? Look at the camera. He doesn't want the sun in his eyes.
There. Oh, there.
What's his name?
He doesn't have one.
See him. Let's look at those eyes. Oh, that's a pretty kitty. Anyway, so we had to take No Name in.
Itty bitty kitty, potty kitty.
We had to take No Name in, so we went ahead and took Caleb in to get his shots and get him tested. When I found out Caleb tested positive, I knew we needed to get the other dogs in. And so Tucker's only 6 months old. When we got him on the preventative, and he was after these other ones. So we didn't miss a dose on him. I didn't need to take him in and get him tested because he's current on his preventative. There's that sun. But so we had to take the other 3 dogs in. We had to take Eddie and Gertie, and you guys don't see them very often, especially Eddie, but they're inside dogs. And then we had to take Dandy and Tara. No, wait, we already did Gertie, so we had to take Eddie, Dandy, and Tara in, all in the same day. And we got them tested. We got their vaccinations, their annual vaccinations, because they were all due about the same time, not exactly at the same time, because we don't usually take them all in the same day. We spread it out over 2 or 3 vet trips. We try to get as many in, one vet trip as possible, but it's hard. And Tara is dog aggressive, and so it's very difficult. But we took the 3 in on the same day, had them all tested, and Dandy has heartworms. Tara does not, Eddie does not, but so now that leaves us with Dandy and Caleb with heartworms. Like I said, we've started the treatment. It is expensive, but it's already paid for, and you know, we have a credit at the vet's office, so when it's time to actually take them in for the treatment for the adult heartworms, it's already paid for, so we're good there. I know I've heard people use ivermectin to treat dogs for, or use ivermectin as a preventative for heartworms, and I talked to the vet about that, and I asked her why aren't we just using ivermectin, because it's cheaper, it's easier to get, and or at least it used to be easier to get before, you know, before 2020. And she said that dosing is very difficult. It's a lot harder to get the correct dose for it, and I don't know, we have had more mosquitoes than usual. I don't know about here, because this, like I said, this is my first year here, so I don't know what it's like. Maybe it's like this all the time here. We had a whole lot of ticks. What are y'all doing out? A lot of people had more ticks this year, and the vet said that, you know, the bobcat fever was bad this year. And the one I talked to when I had Caleb tested, she said there were a lot more mosquitoes this year. I know there's certainly a lot more this year than there was at my other house. I don't know. I'm not gonna do that again, though. I'm gonna stock up on that preventative stuff. The vet she's pretty confident at this treatment for the heartworms, and that Caleb and Dandy are definitely in the beginning stages of it. She listened to their heart and their breathing, and she said that they've got a 95% chance of getting it taken care of, getting rid of the worms. She thinks that the dogs will be okay. There is a chance, you know, there's always a chance that the dogs could die during the treatment. Caleb, come here, buddy.
Nubbles.
That's all it is. It's not gonna grow back. I bet Rain's got them.
No nubbles.
Don't lie.
I'm not. She doesn't have these little nubbles right there.
Oh, well, that's fine. Go look at the other goat. The boy.
He'll never let me close to him. Alright.
Try being nice to him.
I did. Anyway.
If y'all remember, we do put Dandy with Caleb. I mean, like, Caleb and Dandy are buddies. And so if you look back in the other videos, you'll see that we oftentimes bring Dandy out to play with Caleb. And so, you know, if Caleb was infected, then a mosquito could have bitten him and then taken the heartworms and bit Dandy, and that's how she got them.